they are very intent on minimizing the fiscal deficit and even potentially even repaying some of the borrowings with the spending cuts that they are doing. So I think markets have sort of not factored in those aspects, and if these turn out to be true in the next few months to a year, I think there is a significant potential for dollar to correct. Right. So this is where we stand. It is not a one-way street. We have enough to go. So just to summarize on the macro part also, inflation, right, it's becoming very sticky at around 3%, core 3.3 range. It's not coming off at all. Even the global inflation also is sort of stabilizing, which means that while rate cut probabilities are not too, there are definitely there is chance of further rate cuts, in the sense that inflation continues to be is fairly docile, and if central banks feel that inflation is not going to spike again, they might cut for the growth sake. But all these numbers are right now are assuming that growth will continue to remain fairly okay. But the reality is we are reaching a period in the global market, rather global economy, where growth is now struggling. Even India for that matter, as you see, right, last quarter it was bad. So growth is now tapering very clearly. All the massive, money driven, printed money driven growth post COVID, it is now coming to an end. And now that all the central banks across the world have sort of stopped money printing and even reversing that, growth is now seeing a stage where the impact of the high rates is not getting felt. So that's where we are as far the inflation is concerned, and growth falling could also mean inflation also correcting in the coming months. So rate cut probability is not as low as people think it would be. Our view continues to be that rate cuts are more probable. Secondly, the balance sheet size of the Fed has shrunk by almost 2 trillion, right, in the past 1 year or so. So the point is, Federal Reserve's balance sheet has shrunk, but now they're talking about stopping that shrinkage and keeping it at this current level.